As soon as the midterms were over and there was a dismal showing for the for the Republicans, Fox News came out and has pretty much abandoned Trump. Rupert Murdoch's print is calling him, the Post called him Humpty Dumpty, the Wall Street Journal called him a loser. So I guess my point is it finally time to say, hey, maybe Donald Trump is hurting us. He's hurt us 3 elections in a row now, and it's time to move on?
Well, I've said this before. I'm not going to endorse in the primary. I work for a nonprofit. But as far as policies, I'm always focused on policies. And for policy, Trump's policies are a winner. I mean, we're going to have millions of babies that are going to be saved. So that's a winner as far as I'm concerned. And no other Republican in the last 50 years have been able to deliver that at the ballot box. So that, by my mind, is part of why I think a lot of people are very loyal to him because of his policies. And I think I hark back to 2016 because I feel like we're in the twilight zone of history's repeating itself, because Fox News hated Trump back then. And I remember at CPAC in 2016, Chris Wallace and how he was hammering him, and not just him, Megyn Kelly. I mean, he was very disfavored back then. And again, I'm not endorsing Donald Trump. I'm not endorsing Ron DeSantis. I want good policy at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens. I think that he certainly has proven that he can deliver when it comes to these policy wins. And we'll see what happens in the primary.
Well, first of all, comparing 2016 and 2024 are total apples and oranges, because any Republican president who would have come in and would have had the chances to appoint people to the Supreme Court, that's not going to happen this time. So that would have happened. That's not a fair reason to say, oh, I love his policies. It's not like it's energy policy or something else. So that's invalid. But the bottom line is, this is not endorsing policies. This is saying, hey, this candidate is now a loser for us. So maybe we have to look elsewhere. That's not endorsing a candidate, Carrie. That's saying, hey, this isn't working. This guy's cost us 3 times. One of the reasons the Democrats did so well, because Trump once again inserted himself into this election. So it was less a referendum on Biden, which was better for Republicans, and more of a rehashing of Trumpism, which obviously is better for Democrats now. And that's not even including all the weak candidates that he shoehorned in. I mean, think about this. I mean, aren't you happy at least that look at the 6 states that Trump tried to interfere in? The election deniers went down in every one, including Carrie Lake, who was the most scary. I mean, this is someone who really was almost like the Manchurian candidate. And if she'd won, she would have been standing right next to Trump at his dismal, soporific announcement where there wasn't a single U.S. senator or a single governor and congressman who'd been voted out. Nobody was there of any substance, and that's not a coincidence. He's old news. He's a drag on the party. Why won't you admit it?
I'm not going to be dragged down by you, my friend.
No. I'm just saying, admit that he's been a loser for the last 3 elections. Can you admit that?
I mean,
that's a fact. That's like saying that the sun rises in the east. That's not a matter of opinion. That's not an endorsement. So can you at least say that?
Well, I think to some extent
you won't even acknowledge the facts.
I try to respond. I think to some extent the abortion question actually did influence a lot of the turnout, more so than I hoped that it would have. And I think that was actually a big factor, because unfortunately there was a lot of scare tactics. And then also the Democrat Party really took a dark turn. If you listen to the rhetoric from Barack Obama in 2008, he won with hope and change. And then fast forward to 2022, Barack Obama's out there saying, democracy is on the ballot. Half of the country is evil, neo-Nazis from Joe Biden. So yeah, people were scared. And I think that that's unfortunate because they've demonized half the country. So yeah, maybe they were motivated more because people don't want to dehumanize half the country. So anyway.
I love that a Trump supporter is pontificating on the politics of fear and division, that is just beautiful. I mean, gotta love the hypocrisy. I mean, that's what Trump rode into town on. So, again, and he's still doing it. So the bottom line is, yes, I think democracy was on the ballot. And frankly, my two takeaways from the midterms were that democracy won. The voters said, you know what? This is what we don't want. This democracy does matter. The Republican Party and Donald Trump, they are a threat to democracy. And the other thing that won in the midterms was, frankly, decorum, because I was worried that the Republicans felt, you know what, we can get away with anything. Donald Trump can hurl, racial insults at Mitch McConnell's wife. Herschel Walker can pay for how many abortions and threaten how many women. Donald Trump Jr. can put out a Paul Pelosi Halloween kit. I mean, just despicable stuff. And I think voters said, you know what? We don't want that. You guys are the crazy party, and we're not going to vote for that. So, and by the way, I hate to say it, but things aren't looking good for the new House. So,
at the end of the day, Nancy Pelosi, the red wave was waving goodbye to Nancy Pelosi. So we got that.
Nancy Pelosi would have waved goodbye even if Democrats had held control of the House. She said she was only going to serve for 4 years as Speaker, and I believe she would have honored that. So that didn't have anything to do with the Republicans taking control of the House.